Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Oh my god, it's early this morning. So I'm off to Sheffield today for a very special recording of the Drive Talk podcast, and I'm taking you along for two things. I want to do a long-range fuel test on this mini Countryman JCW, and also I think you'll really enjoy the event tonight. It's Dougie Lampkin's indoor trial spectacular at the Sheffield Arena. But what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna make sure that all my values are reset to 0. So we can start with a clean slate, and then I'm also just going to put my route into Waze, which I think hopefully should be running. Oh my days, 222 miles, 4 hours. So what I'm going to do is on the way there, I'm going to drive in, hold on, let me just put it into Go Kart Feel. Woohoo! And on the way back, I'll be a little bit more, I don't know, reserved and economic. It's barely light enough for you to see me, but I love this bit of road. And this for me is one of the things I love most about this car, is when you get a bit of open road and you stick it up into go-kart, it just sheds all of its size and all of its weight and turns into a mini. And I still find it fascinating how it does that. It's clearly got a lot of grunt, this car. It's 300 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, very un-mini characteristics. But the steering, the front-wheel drive bias of the 4-wheel drive system mean that when you do get a bit of road like this, it's just ace. Like really, really ace. That is a big old bus to be coming down here, but I think it's a school bus. And then you get a change up, a change down, you get a few burbles on the back end of the car coming out the exhaust. I'm not quite sure how much of that is piped in through the speakers, but to be honest, the fact that I don't know whether it's piped in through the speakers is a good indicator, because it sounds realistic. But so yeah, here I am doing a fuel efficiency challenge. Nothing quite like my mate Joe and Pat, who I'm heading up to Sheffield to see, who drove from Africa to London on 1 tank of fuel. And I know from talking to them about that just how they drove. I'm not doing that on this test. That is not the point. I want to drive normally, like I would do. When I did my 6-month appraisal of this car, quite a few people said what the fuel economy was like, and I didn't talk about that in that video. So I thought, okay, well, let's do a fuel economy test, and let's see what it's like. But I want to do that how I drive the car. I could hypermile all the way to Sheffield and sit behind a bus at 55 miles an hour in their slipstream and get 1,000,000 miles per gallon, but that's not really representative of how most of us drive. I want to just drive the car like it should be driven. So on the way there, in go-kart mode, I am going to drive it. If I got an opportunity on a bit of B road, I'm going to drive it like I think it should be driven. I'm going to, you know, put it on the manual override gear change using the flappy paddles. I'm going to accelerate nice and hard out of corners and have some fun. So yeah, the route I'm taking today, Waze was going to actually take me up the A3, round the M25 and then up the M1. And there is no way I'm doing that at the moment because at the top of the A3, where you join the M25, they're doing some works on that junction, and it is minging at the moment. So I'm going to go cross country to the bottom of the A34, up the A34, a little bit of M40, A43 past Joe's house in Silverstone, and then onto the M1, and then up the M1. Let's see how that goes. I've still got 200 miles to go. Boo! That's the end of my fun. That's all of the kind of A and B road fun done. The rest of the journey, which is some 180, 190 miles, is all dual carriageway and motorway. But interestingly, my MPG currently is 25.9. So I've not done a huge amount of miles, I don't think. I've been driving an hour, I've done 35 miles. So in 35 miles of fun, I've averaged just shy of 26 miles to the gallon, which actually I think is quite good because I was driving it relatively hard. The interesting thing now I'm on the dual carriageway though, in the go-kart mode, is it tends to just hang on to the gears a little bit more. So here I am kind of sat doing 70 miles an hour, but the car for me could just go up one more gear. There we go, I've just manually put it into top gear now, and the revs have dropped, and it just is a lot more calm and probably fuel efficient. So I've just literally just squeezed the throttle, it's popped down into 6th, and it's just now holding it in 6th. So that's where sport mode, really on a motorway, you're better off going into something like core or one of the other modes. But I am going to keep it in sport mode for the whole journey, just to see what it does to the fuel economy. Now, interestingly, my hand has been forced slightly because for some reason, Waze, which is my preferred satellite navigation app, has stopped working. The route kind of cancelled itself, and it won't recalculate the route to my destination. And I've tried a number of times, so I thought, I know, that's a really great excuse to use the mini sat-nav. So I pulled into the lay-by a few miles back, and I've put the destination now into the mini sat-nav, which I don't use very often, but actually now you see the full circular screen being used. And I mentioned in my 6-month review the downside about the Apple CarPlay integration with this round screen is it's a square in the middle, and it doesn't kind of use the whole screen. The native sat-nav clearly does, and also it's an augmented reality one, so it works in conjunction with a head-up display, which clearly Waze doesn't. But I'm still able to use Apple CarPlay because I'm currently listening to a podcast. So you can do both. If you want to use your phone for media, whether that's podcasts or playlists or whatever, you can have that running at the same time as the native sat-nav. But anyway, let's see how we get on. 171 miles, 2 hours 58 minutes. Last bit before I concentrate on my long drive ahead, I've just activated the adaptive cruise control, and it's basically level 2 autonomous driving. It's got lane keep assist, so I could go around this gradual left-hand bend with no hands on the steering wheel at all, and the car is going to steer for me. It's just now told me to put my hands back on the steering wheel, and that now will make this journey really relaxing. So it's super easy to set. You basically got some buttons on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You just set the speed, and it does everything else for you. You can adjust the gap between you and the car in front, like all of these systems on any manufacturer, really. But yes, so adaptive cruise, very useful feature. I use it a lot on longer journeys on dual carriageways like this, just to help me make the journey as untiring as possible. Two hours at my age, I can't last that without having to have a wee and stopping for a coffee. But I am trying to be really good this year, because I've just stopped for a coffee and I didn't get any food. I didn't get any snacks, no crisps, no chocolate.
Clearly he's a man who wants to take over.
And that That's my New Year's resolution, is to try and just make sure I don't snack so much, I don't eat so much rubbish when I'm out on the road. But yes, what have I got? Still got miles to go. Oh, 106 miles still left to go. I am less than 5 miles from Sheffield. I've had a pretty uneventful journey, really. The guys behind me, not so much, because there was a big accident on the M1, but I managed to miss that. But let's have a quick look at my MPG, because I think that is an impressive number. I have averaged 36.7 miles to the gallon, and I've done so far 217 miles. Now, the one thing that has helped that a little bit, because obviously after my enthusiastic driving, I was in the like mid to late 20s. When you drive up the M1 at the moment, there's lots of average speed cameras set to 50 miles an hour, and I've done a lot of that kind of 50 mile an hour driving, which helps the fuel economy a huge amount. Had I been sat at the national 70 all the way, it might be a bit less than that, but I still think that is a pretty good number. I'm actually going to go past this truck because I think I can get past him and come off. So I think that's a pretty good number. So let's head on into the Sheffield arena, and I'm going to kind of take you behind the scenes a little bit of the podcast. And we're here for the next couple of days, but on Sunday morning I'm going to leave the hotel nice and early. I'm going to reset my trip. I'm going to put the car into core mode, or I might even use eco actually, and I'm going to see if I can beat that MPG figure. So I've made it all the way up to Sheffield, and we are recording the Drive Talk podcast with none other than legend Mr. Dougie Lampkin at the DL12 that's been set up behind us. You're a legend as well, mate.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Not quite the same level, though.
I know, but the next couple of days are going to be great, but we need to record a podcast.
We do.
Yeah. So bye for now. Now, it's now the next morning, so we filmed the podcast last night with Dougie just up on the arena seating area up there with a backdrop, and it wasn't finished. But they've worked tirelessly yesterday, and it's now pretty much there, and we're about to do a course walk with Dougie. But I'll just spin the camera around. And I have to say, some of these obstacles, they look difficult to kind of climb over, let alone ride a trials bike over them. I don't think it's until you kind of get close you see the scale. So yeah, we'll have a wander around, and I'll try and give you a closer look at some of these a bit later. So while we've got access to the floor, I thought I'd give you a quick walk around some of the obstacles on this indoor trials event. We've just had a walk around with Dougie and recorded that for the podcast, so make sure you check out the podcast channel for that, because the insight is just unbelievable. But I don't know if you've ever done or been to an indoor trials event or seen even outdoor trials. The obstacles are ridiculous. I mean, the most spectacular maybe is this section here. That's a 25-degree slope with obstacles on it. They'll be racing up there. But then if we wander around here, this is obstacle or section number 1. It's made out of concrete pipes. But I am 6'3", and it's just nuts, absolutely nuts. So they're going to jump from there, they're going to jump bunny hop onto there, come up onto this bit, but then the bit that absolutely blows my mind is from the top of that pipe, they'll come onto that pipe and then somehow go from there up there. Look, I can't even reach the top, it's that high. Absolutely incredible. Over here, they've got the section sponsored by Hope Bikes, which is really cool actually, because my niece's husband's dad runs Hope Bikes, so it's great to see them here. These are massive hubs and cranks off of mountain bikes, but I love that. So that's all made from concrete. This is now steel with paint on it. There's Dougie himself walking around and just, oh, he's making that one easier because it was too difficult. Yeah. Is that too easy? Yeah. And then you come onto here, and this is all now pallets. So it's Dougie just walking this and just seeing whether he thinks or not. On the course walk, he was saying the challenge with this is you come down here, you could get the front wheel of the bike stuck here and then flip over the handlebars. So it's just putting that bit of wood in there just to smooth it out a little bit, make it a little bit easier or a little bit less dangerous. But yeah, very, very cool. So in this section here, this has got to be a good 4 meters off the top. That bit, I'll just check across, tripping over. This section's all quarry stones and logs. Again, just ridiculous how the bikes, they go from just jumping these massive gaps. It's incredible. So we cannot wait to see the riders actually doing this later. Absolutely amazing. I don't know what he's doing in there. Pat's inside the tyre. Excellent. You all right, Pat, in there?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, all right.
Just standing up in the tyre, mate. Yeah.
As you do. These are massive Earth Mover, Michelin Earth Mover tyres. So there's a section at the middle, sponsored by Michelin, these Earth Mover tyres. Just amazing. So yeah, absolutely incredible. And then this last obstacle here is just frankly insane. Just amazing. So yeah, later on this evening, we'll watch the best trials riders in the world attempt this course. And I can't wait to see it. So it's now the evening, we're in our box with all the other Michelin guests and the arena's completely finished and it looks amazing. But up here it looks tiny, and we know from the course walk already it's not. It really is huge, some of those obstacles. But what a view from up here.
You'll be annoyed to try one away there, I would imagine. Under a bit of pressure here, Tony. 2 sections to go after this one, remember. And now the impossible. What can the magician find here?
How was that, Joe?
That's why he's the best. That's why he's 36-time world champion.
China's night. Come on, Tony Bow. Here we go. So easy over the first bit. Too good. Look at the time, he's going to get out. That's a just think how his piece gets together. He only 38 years old, the best there's ever going to be. Look at him. On the front there. It's very quiet, he wants to hear it all. Yeah, let's hear it, Tony.
Morning all. It's only just getting daylight. I actually left the hotel in darkness this morning because I really do want to try and get home and have a decent amount of time with Tracy this afternoon, because tomorrow I'm actually off to Lapland on a trip, which is going to be amazing. There'll be content coming to the channel soon. But what an evening last night. A spectacular event at DL12. And then we went back to the hotel. Lots of the riders came back to the hotel. And it was just really, really cool. But on the way home, I've reset the trip at the hotel this morning. So on the way up, we were just shy of 37 mpg. I'm now averaging 38.6. I'm in the green efficiency mode, which isn't my favourite mode because it deadens everything off. But on a motorway like this, it really doesn't make any difference because I've just got the cruise control set to 70 miles an hour. If I was going for ultimate efficiency, I wouldn't be driving at 70, I might be doing 60 or 65, but that's not really the aim of this test. I want to just drive like I would normally drive. I'm going to drive home the same route as I drove up to try and make it as similar as possible. Clearly, I know on my way home I'm now driving downhill, whereas driving up to Sheffield I was going uphill, obviously. But yeah, let's just see how we get on. I'm 65 miles in and the sun is just coming up. But I'm going to crack on, enjoy my coffee, and I will speak to you nearer home time. Very quickly, I'm in an average 50 limit through some roadworks, but look, we are at over 40 mpg, 40.4, which I think is pretty impressive. I think we've done 96 miles, so I'm very pleased we got into the 40s, but the weather is absolutely minging.
平均速度取締ゾーンに入ります。平均速度取締ゾーンを抜けます。
My Waze is still stuck in Japanese just for average speed camera zone announcements. Everything else is in English and I cannot fix it. I've tried about 50 times. I just can't change it. I've uninstalled the app, I've logged out, logged back in again, and she still speaks in bloody Japanese whenever I go into an average speed zone. Weird. Well, very nearly home. Been a long old drive. Unusually for me, I've actually stopped a couple of times just to stretch my legs and get a coffee, but let's see, the results are in. So we did 36.9 on the way up to Sheffield in sport mode, driving normally. On the way back, we are at 39.3, and if I just tap on that to get the total distance, I've done 218 miles at an average of 39.3. Now, a couple of things. Firstly, I actually think for a 300 horsepower four-wheel drive car of this size and weight, 39.3 mpg is pretty good, to be honest. The downside of this efficient mode, and unfortunately I've got a car in front of me, but when you do get off of the motorway dual carriageway, you find you're in a lot more of a relaxing drive. You're not accelerating hard out of corners, the throttle's quite dead. It's not, for me, a pleasant mode to drive in. However, it makes a bit of difference. But is that difference enough? Is it really stark enough from 36.9, let's say 37, so it's two and a bit mpg different over 200 miles? I think that's quite interesting. I am pretty sure you could get an average in the 40s, maybe 41 possibly, if you just drove a little bit slower on the motorway. If you did like that 60, 65, then I think that number would come down. But quite impressive. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of fun. I was on my way to Sheffield, had an amazing time at the DL12 last night. When I was in the bar at the end of the evening, I spent a good amount of time talking to Martin Ashton, one of my all-time cycling heroes, the guy who did Road Bike Party. I think he defined and started that genre of YouTube videos, doing incredible things on a road bike 15 years ago, and then sadly had that terrible accident and was paralyzed. But oh my goodness me, what a lovely guy and an amazing sense of humor. Absolute privilege to meet him. Anyway, I'm very nearly home. But if you enjoyed that one, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. This could well be the last video I do with the Countryman. I managed to keep it for an extra month, but it does go back to Mini at the end of January. But I've loved every minute of this car being in my life. A very, very impressive thing. I know it's not for everyone, but honestly, you need to drive one and try one, because as an overall package, it's very, very impressive. And the fact that I can do pretty much, well, it's now come down a little bit now because I'm on a B road, 39 mpg. I think that's pretty good. Anyway, you take care, guys. Drive safe.